Hello, welcome to this week's Wild Spirits News. I'm Sibylla and today I'll tell you how to handle the flood of knowledge. I recently read an article about how to manage how companies and organizations are challenged in the face of all the knowledge that has accumulated from their, for example, their more senior employees, from projects or experiences that have been made before. There is so much knowledge there, but the insight is that if it's not organized, if it's not available or systemized, then that knowledge will not be available to the right person at the right time as they need it, when and as they need it. And so the same experiences and the same mistakes are made over and over again, and there's a lot of potential wasted. It was a very interesting article, and apparently an entire discipline has sprung up around this called knowledge management. And it got me thinking that really as individuals, we face the same issue. We have so much information these days, so much knowledge is at our fingertips. On the internet, for example, you can learn almost anything on the internet if you know where to look and if you had any way to retain everything. And this can become very overwhelming. That's why your mission today is to learn how to manage all this knowledge, especially when it comes to your passion. Task number 1 is all-rounder or specialist. It's the age-old question, isn't it? Should you attempt to gain a general knowledge of several subjects, or should you try to niche down and become a specialist, an absolute expert at the one discipline that is your field of study, right? Or your passion in this case. The answer to this question is as individual as each of us. Meaning, okay, let's start off by saying a general knowledge of different fields is not a bad thing and never hurts. This is one thing that our school system often bash it, but this is one thing that our school system actually gets right. They attempt to give us an idea or an awareness of different disciplines. This is good for us, this is good for context and for our personal development and all sorts of things. However, if you're one of those people who have one particular passion, one thing that really lights you up, then it makes absolute sense to become an expert and to niche down in that one area, subject or field of study, right? And become an expert and learn as much as you can on this one area. If you are, however, a multi-passionate with several different interests, you will probably want to learn a lot about each of them. And then your knowledge in every individual discipline might not go quite as deep as if it was your only passion, but you will still acquire fair knowledge of several subjects. Now, there are people who will try to tell you either the one or the other is the way to go. You need to be an expert in the marketplace, or you need to know about several subjects, you need to be flexible. The answer is both are needed. There's a place for both types in our society. So please don't try to force yourself into a direction that doesn't suit you. Whatever fits your personality and your style, that is what you should do. Task number 2 is handle the flood of information. Now, like I said, it is a good idea to acquire a general awareness of different subjects and disciplines, but absolutely do specialize in the passion or passions in the one or several fields that light you up, that are important to you. Now, the question is, how do you manage and handle all the information that is these days available in every single discipline even? And that, again, can become a little overwhelming. And at the same time, there's nothing more heartbreaking than being at a point in your passion, pursuing your passion, where you remember something. I had something there. I read something about this. Somebody told me about a book on exactly this subject. This could be so useful now, but I have no idea where I wrote this down. Or there was a web article and I must have linked it somewhere. I must have bookmarked it, but I can't find it on my computer or my phone. Ugh, it's so frustrating. So here are a couple of tips, a couple of ideas on how to stay sane and how to organize and handle all of this. First is keep a notebook where you jot down ideas. So this can be a physical notebook. In that case, it should be small enough that you can carry it in your handbag or in your pocket jacket or whatever, so that you have it with you at all times, including a pen, where you can jot down ideas or anything that you hear somebody recommends, a book or whatever, right? You could also use the electronic version of, a notepad or a phone. All of them have a notes or reminders function these days. And in there you can write it down. The second step then is, don't just write things down in a notebook and leave them there, because at one point you'll have 10 notebooks and you will still not be able to access any of this information, which is why it's important that on a certain date every month, like once every month, you sit down and you go through your notes from the previous month and you organize them. I suggest into different documents, separate documents on Word documents, for example, a collection of links, web links, right? A collection of another document might be for recommendations of books, people, so names of people, experts, teachers, whatnot, people to follow on the internet. A third might be ideas, your own creative or study ideas. Whatever fits your discipline. Separate Word documents that you update once a month with what has come up in that particular month. And you save all of these documents in one folder. Now, in order to keep track of this, the third suggestion that I'll make is to use a calendar so that you actually remember to do this once a month. So on the same date every month, put yourself a reminder in the calendar that you sit down and organize your notes from the previous month. And on that same date, you'll also set your priority or one or two priorities, focus points for the coming month. So you don't get overwhelmed trying to do everything all at once. You focus on maybe one book and one author, one specialist. Or you do one course and try out one new technique in your passion, whatever it is, right? One focus, maximum of 2 for 1 month. And next month you collect the ideas from that month and you set new priorities, or you decide to keep the same priorities for another month. But don't make it more than 1 or 2 at a time, because it can really be very overwhelming to try to do it all at once. That gets me to task number 3, which is, as usual, let me know. Hit the reply button on the email that you got the link to this video with and tell me what you take away from this video. Do you struggle with this? Does it overwhelm you a little bit, the vast amount of information? Do you sometimes not know where to start? Will you put into practice some of my ideas here? I'd love to hear from you and I'll answer every email, I promise. If you didn't get the link to the video in an email, that means you're not part of the Wild Spirits community yet, and you must join us. Go to wildspiritscoaching.com and fill in that little form there. You'll get not just the videos, but lots of extra additional information and articles, recommendations of books and other resources, and sometimes you get exclusive offers that are only for my subscribers that nobody else ever gets to see. So go to wildspiritscoaching.com and sign up, or you can Google Wild Spirits Coaching. That'll get you to the website as well. Thank you for watching.